So how you doing, Mark?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Good. Really what we're trying to do is just give, as you think about Caliber with our 1,300 originators, there's just so much perspective that, people like you as our elite performers can give, not only on so much as what you do as your job, but more importantly, how you're dealing with the new reality in your market. So just some questions that we'll try to catch you off guard. No, I'm just kidding. But in any event, we'll jump right in. So the first question's a fun one, Mark. So we've now been doing this for coming up on 6 months, and what I'm now calling our new normal. I didn't make that up. Someone else came up with it. What's been the kind of a fun thing? If you think of, we can probably point to the things we're frustrated about, but what's the thing that actually has been insightful or fun for you to be in this, crazy pandemic period? What have you learned that's a little bit different or is fun that you've taken away from the time?
I like coming to work in shorts and a t-shirt.
I agree. I think, isn't that the new thing, is nobody stand up, right? Because we're all, I don't know how we're ever going to wear pants again. That's really the question.
For sure. It's I don't know. It's hard to be lying if I didn't say it's hard to stay positive. And so I try to avoid negative things. Watching the news, things, try to be truly appreciative and count my blessings. And so times like this, it makes you take a step back and be thankful for the things that you have and not get so excited about the things that you don't, because you truly have to appreciate. I always say there's more bad than good, and I've learned very much to appreciate the good moments.
No, that's terrific. That's terrific. As one of the things that I'm really interested in, as your perspective as one of our elite performers, and then in your market up in Indiana, is people's expectations or needs as homeowners have changed, and as you've seen, the purchase market has just been on fire. I mean, I think everyone would agree, probably shocked that in the middle of this, we've seen one of the best purchase markets in years, and specifically for Caliber, we're up, like August, we're up 51% daily applications, and we were up 41% daily purchase applications for July. And so the refis are expected with the rates. The purchase is a little bit knowing, so many individuals with job impact. As you're out and working with your referral partners and customers, have you seen a change in what customers are looking for as they're out, buying these houses? Is it shifts in communities? Is it shifts in type of homes? Just what are some of the trends you've seen post-pandemic and as we've seen this purchase market just take off?
Well, specifically to the purchase market, in Indiana, we have a true, it's absolutely a seller's market. There are more buyers than sellers. There's a tremendous lack of inventory. And the shift that I've seen is, my average loan amount being fairly low and being a huge government lender. Now that the change is focused where the pre-approval is so important, and not only is it so important, but looking at minimal down conventional options, because right now sellers are not big on government offers. There's so many, homes are getting multiple bids at once. And so whoever comes in with a conventional offer asking for the least amount of cost, those are the ones that are winning the bids. And so we're really having to work harder on some of these buyers' approvals where normally it would be a layup FHA. Now we're trying to figure out a way to get them into a 3% down conventional product because the seller just doesn't want to entertain the government loan. So that's the shift here. They don't want to take government offers right now.
Have you seen the escrow periods, drop? Stacy mentioned, you may have heard her, she said that the demand for 20-day closings is way up. Have you also seen a shift for faster closings?
The contracts are coming in with 3-week turn times, and I'm scratching my head. I'm having conversations with my referral partners. They know the appraisers are all behind. But that's how they made their offer competitive. They asked for the least amount of cost. They went in for the quickest turn time. They're waiving inspections. Um, that's what's giving the advantage. And then they're putting tremendous pressure on us, the lender. Hey, we got it accepted. Now you got to do your part.
Do you see that as, Mark? 'Cause that's fascinating to me, because that's a trend that I look ahead and I'm not sure we go back. Do you agree? Do you think we're going to continue to see 3 weeks and a couple of years from now we could have 14, 20 days as our norm?
I hope not. I think once it reverses, that we'll see that wind down a little bit. Because I can remember years past asking agents, why does every contact you give me come out with a 3-week or 30-day turn time? And they said, well, because you never said that you couldn't get it done in that time. And so trying to educate your referral partners that, hey, guys, appraisers are behind, title is behind, everybody's behind. Can we get back to the 30 and 45-day closings? And I think we will. And that's the other part of the problem with rural development, 2 and 3 weeks out on their turn time, VA appraisers are all backed up. That's why it's a lot of causing the hesitancy on taking the government offer.
No, that makes sense.
I really hope it doesn't stay like this, because if it does, I'm gonna grow up quickly.
So switching gears just a little bit, clearly one of the important parts of Caliber's retail strategy, I refer to it often as hyper local, because it's like a cool, people think I'm like a cool hipster saying that, but it really is having our originators like you in the market where you can build these relationships with realtors, builders, financial planners, other referral partners. Have you found, post COVID here, has it been more difficult to maintain those relationships? Is it, are you just finding alternate ways to do it? What's your feeling on that, which is such an important part of your business?
It's hard. I just make sure that I'm reaching out to them via phone call and email, more so a phone call than an email or a text. It just sounds so impersonal just to shoot an email. But as far as seeing, and most of the real estate offices are closed. A lot of the realtors, the referral partners are still, they're scared. Nobody wants to get sick, and you certainly don't want to be the one to cause that. So that's the part that I'm struggling with, because I like to physically meet all the clients, and I physically meet them in the real estate office, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Meet the client, meet the agent, say hi to everybody now. And now you can't do that.
Right.
And so I'm finding myself struggling on how to stay in contact, stay in front of them all the time. The business boost helps a lot, but it doesn't make up for the face-to-face personal contact, doing the things that you would normally would.
Have you moved to, like we're doing a Zoom and we've got Teams. Are your referral partners into that? Have you done more of those types of networking events to try to at least put some physical, or I shouldn't say physical, but face contact with the voice?
I haven't. I'm going to tell you that my clientele referral partners, with my average loan amount being 135 on a purchase, my real estate referral partners, I'm in rural America. They're not at technologically sophisticated. So
that's a very interesting point, right? It's similar to some of the whole debate on the school side, right? Is if you're in a home with great Wi-Fi and the latest technology and gadgets, right? Virtual school is just fine. But if you're in an area where you don't have the high speed or you don't have those tools, it's very challenging. And so you bring a very different perspective to it from that perspective. So you're having to forge with far less tools, or your referral partners not as open to that. So that's very interesting.
It's hard to pin them down. Everybody's busy right now. All the good agents have clients that work. They have more buyers than anything, and so that the time constraints make it difficult too. So I find it's weird. I find myself on the phone, getting emails and phone calls 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, because these agents need you.
Well, and now that everyone has less places to go, right? They're just around, and the the work time frame. I mean, everybody is where does work end? Where does home begin? It's all blurred, right? Have you been able, one of the things, to your point, your business with, especially with your customers, you used to meet them face to face and have that personal relationship. Is there anything you found that you've been doing that helps to maintain that at some level with your customers?
Certainly, doing everything online or virtually makes it seems to be so much more productive because you don't have that half hour to hour face-to-face meeting. So it forces you to be a little quicker, and I'm able to get more files and more things done, multitask, things of that nature. But it also presents a difficulty with the first-time home buyer because what I find when you're online on the phone is they don't focus. They're doing something else too. And I have tremendous better success with the people that I've always met with face to face than the ones that I'm doing online with. They don't read the full email. They don't pay attention. They're making a sandwich or watching TV at the same time. And so that's the file that's difficult to meet the contract date because I'm asking for the same stuff 2 and 3 times, and like, you never asked me that. Yes, I did, and so on and so forth. So it's a lot more difficult with your borrower that is not financially sophisticated.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. What about how in your area have you seen, obviously we still see very high unemployment nationwide, but that has largely been split, right? As we've got a higher percentage of impacted Americans from the hospitality industries and then lower incomes. Have you seen deals get killed or blow up at the end because of a job loss, or has that largely been less of an issue in your area?
Oh, no, for a while it was a large issue. Get them under contract and then they get furloughed in the middle of the deal.
Yeah.
So yes, not as bad now, but it's still you never know who's going to get furloughed next. There's some casinos here that employ a lot of people, and who knows what's going to happen with them next.
Yeah, that seems to be, I think in general, right, is we've round one as a company in the world, right, or the America, we know what happened round one. Now it's round two, right? What, like, the impact of I know you and I are very big Big Ten fans, and we now know there's no football season, right? And the impact, forget what we're all going to do on a Saturday afternoon without our teams, but more importantly, just the impact of the college towns, right, and the small businesses that essentially make a lot of their profit from people coming in to go to the games. And I think you mentioned casino, all of what are the habits that people are going to change that will ultimately have an impact on further jobs. And I think you're right. That is certainly still an area of uncertainty.
Sure.
What it has, in terms of how you've had to interact, clearly with the volume you do, and you and I always joke about it, right? We've as a top elite producer, you have one way to get there of dollars, you have another way to get there by units, and units by far is a harder way, right? Because every one of those, it's another customer, etc. And so with the volume that you're doing and customers you're dealing with, have you had to change how you interact with your operations team and even your own support team as you've seen your production, obviously your purchases up, but also your refi? Have you made any adjustments or had to change the way you handle that?
I have always tried to take the most complete application as possible. The guy I used to work with, used to say, "Don't let your 2, crappy files hold up my 10 good ones." So that's the only person I can control is me. So if I do the best job I can, I'm thorough, I get everything up front, then hopefully I make it easier on the operations staff on the back end. Obviously, things come up that you can't control, but there are certainly things that you can look at up front to avoid headaches on the back end. And so that I've certainly been a lot more focused on that than I've ever been.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great advice. It's the simplest things, but when there are capacity constraints everywhere, inside and outside the organization, the attention to detail, those are the things that are the winning combination for sure. So, I would just, first of all, I thank you for your time, Mark. This is great. And I think the great part of these podcasts, we have just such phenomenal talent in Caliber and things that we can, take from Indiana, or in the case of Stacy in Arizona, and bring to other parts and whatnot. I'm excited to do this. I guess the parting question is this year of craziness, right? We nobody expected rates to be where they are and refis to be where they are. What do you think? The purchase market is still holding up in August. How do you think this fall is going to look? Do you think we're going to have our typical seasonality, especially in an area like Indiana, where you're still going to have fall and winter? Do you think we're going to have some anomalies there, even as people try to deal with work from home, or do you think we're going to see our normal seasonality in the purchase market?
I think that the fourth quarter is going to be as busy as it was in spring, because people are buying homes. Because there's more buyers than sellers. I think inventory will still be an issue, but I think you will still see purchase volume at historic highs in the fourth quarter. Quarter's always been very, very busy for me. And I think with people like you mentioned a second ago, what are they doing? They don't have any place to go. They're saving their money. They're going to get into a home. People are buying homes in October, November, and December. For sure. I think it's going to be fantastic fourth quarter.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because everyone used to say, oh, things slow down in September because of, they want to get into that house before school. And, given all the online, right? I mean, that's not an issue anymore. And I'm sure you've heard the same story. If there's ever a time to move, if you can be at home, and even though you're Zooming and working, you can unpack boxes in between and not have to worry about, going into the office. It certainly bodes well for the purchase market. So I can see that. Well, Mark, I'll end the same way I began. We are so thankful to have you on today, but more importantly, thankful for all you do for Caliber. You are just, having a fantastic year and helping so many customers save money with refinancing, get into houses, doing it in just such a high class way. You've achieved, the next highest status on the lifetime achievement. I think many people saw that over this last quarter. The way you're going, you might hit the next level before the end of the year. So I've got my bets there, but I just thank you for all you're doing. And I know it's not easy. And, from all of us, we certainly appreciate it. And more importantly, that you take some time to give us some of this insight. So
my pleasure.
Have a wonderful rest of the day and the week. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in to the Home Connection podcast from Caliber Home Loans. Please see the show notes for links to topics discussed in this episode, and be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.